Beautiful people, we are back at it again. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're on right now, you're with Mose Knows. You already know what's up. We're here with another live show. We're gonna bring the energy. We're gonna bring the fun. We're gonna bring the camaraderie. That's what we're here to do. If you saw the thumbnail, you know that this is a versus style. Now, it's not really. We're not really going back and forth, but we will see. Have a few debates about who did better. But I'm in a New York state of mind today. I really am in a New York state of mind. And I got two guys with me that can give me the scoop on both of the New York teams. And we're going to see in this battle of New York who wants to take the crown. So I'm going to bring my guys in. You've seen them on the channel before. We call everybody who comes on special guests because everybody is special. So we have special guests, but these are friends of the show, family members of the show. Excuse me. I've known these guys for over a decade. It's been a long, long time. You know them as Steve and Josh. I know them as Kizzo and J-Rod. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing today?
What's going on?
It's good, man. Thanks for having me on. Kizzo, love you, man.
Love you too.
Oh, man. Okay, so here we are. We have Josh representing the New York Football Giants. We have Steve representing the Jets, Jets. Before we jump in and get started with, the draft class and, what each team did in the NFL draft, how they made each other better. Steve, let's start with you. Just give me your outlook as it stands right now. Where your organization is at the moment. What are you feeling? What's going through your mind? What are your thoughts with the Jets right now?
Yeah, for the first time since the Rex Ryan days of around 2010. So it's been about 10 years since I've been super confident about a team and excited about a season going into it. A couple different reasons. Back in that day, it was defense and just Rex Ryan's attitude. And right now I see Robert Sala, great hire. He's got that same kind of energy. I remember looking at him last year on the sideline saying he would be a great head coach. I would love the Jets to have him. Never thought it would actually be a thing that would come to fruition. But here we are. I was really excited to find that out. That was the first great piece of the offseason for us. And then, we've got a defensive coach, and we're also finally understanding that this is an offensive league. So we get the pieces in the draft because we didn't have any. We got the pieces in the draft. We go, all in on this quarterback, Zach Wilson. Was he my first choice? I've been on your show on draft night, admitted that he wasn't my first choice. I wanted Justin Fields, but I'm happy with this kid. I've been watching a lot of tape on him. He's got a shot, and if he's going to succeed, he needs pieces around him. And what I love about this is the Jets trade up for Elijah Vera Tucker. That's Elijah, not the Elijah that they drafted in the second round. And just having, an offensive lineman, a wide receiver, and a running back addressed in the first three picks after taking that quarterback is huge. Absolutely huge. We really are focusing on making this kid succeed. And I think that if he's going to do it, we're going to find out pretty quickly.
Absolutely. J-Rod, same question to you, man. What's your thoughts as it stands right now, state of the Giants franchise?
Well, I think, we're in a very important year because this is the year we find out whether or not Daniel Jones is the quarterback of the future. So, I mean, it really all just comes down to that. I know it's very reductive. There's a lot of things that, you can say go into a winning football team, who wins in the trenches, how they perform during certain situations. But at the end of the day, I think this season really just comes down to, is Daniel Jones the guy or not? And whether or not this team is equipped to, help him out is one thing, or I don't really think they really addressed what I wanted them to address in the draft, which was protecting him, because I think their offensive line is really weak, but he has weapons. So I don't think he's going to get any slack or going to be allowed any excuses more than he already has had, because I feel like out of all the quarterbacks that I've ever seen in my lifetime, he's probably been the most coddled out of any New York quarterback, to be completely honest with you. So to me, it's very reductive, incredibly reductive, but it's just whether or not Daniel Jones is that guy. And if he is that guy, I think the Giants can win the NFC East, because let's be honest, that division is not too good.
Yeah, I'm sure those other teams will have something to say about that in the NFC East, but it's definitely a wide open division. So we are here for the Battle of New York. So we're going to go draft class for draft class. We're going to get you guys' thoughts on, what your teams addressed. Josh, you kind of already hinted at it. They didn't really address what you thought, they should, which is offensive line to protect Daniel Jones. But we're still going to take a look and see. And since you mentioned that, I figure we start there. So let's take a look at the 2021 draft class for the New York Giants. With the first round pick, the Giants select wide receiver Kadarius Toney out of Florida. Second round pick, they select Aziz O'Gilar, linebacker out of Georgia. Third round pick is Aaron Robinson, cornerback out of UCF. Fourth round pick is Ellerson Smith, linebacker out of Northern Iowa. Sixth round picks, there are two. Gary Brightwell, running back out of Arizona, and Rodarius Williams, cornerback out of Oklahoma. Josh, with these 6 picks, give it to us, man. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like.
I would have liked to see at least one offensive lineman drafted there. I was hoping for Slater, and they ended up trading down during that Bears trade. Kadarius Toney, from everything I've seen of him, I don't really watch too much college football. He seems like he's going to be a fantastic weapon, but like I said in my intro, if you can't protect Daniel Jones, you're not giving him the tools to succeed. Football is one of the trenches. Can your offensive line protect? And right now, I don't have confidence in the Giants' offensive line to protect Daniel Jones consistently. He's always, under pressure. He turns the ball over himself, but a lot of that, it has to do with the offensive line as well. So for me, I am kind of disappointed they didn't address that. I do like that we got faster at linebacker because I think that's always been a weakness of the team, and addressed the cornerback situation, which, to be honest with you, our defense did overperform last year. Just kind of bolstered that up. So I'm not too worried about the defense. I think we addressed some needs that we needed on defense, nothing too urgent, but overall, just the fact that they didn't address the offensive line even a little bit is kind of concerning for me.
Can we as a fan of a team in the NFC East, can we talk about how petty the Eagles are? Can we talk about how petty the Eagles are to trade up to first? They were at 6. They could have stayed there, and they could have had Devontae Smith there or Jalen Waddle or whoever they wanted, but they trade back to get more assets. But then they said, you know what? We're going to be petty still. And then to move up, to jump you guys, to jump the Giants, and to make a trade with the Cowboys of all teams.
Cowboys are more petty to me. The Cowboys allowed that. Like, what? Are you kidding me? The Eagles
didn't care. They got assets.
Cowboys egged them on. No, that's more on the Cowboys to me. But you're right though, Mark, because that is kind of petty. Because that's what the Giants would have taken 1,000%.
It's super petty.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I'm not in the war rooms or whatever, but I could just imagine both of those guys, the Eagles and the Cowboys, on the phone, like, yo, let's mess with them really bad. We know exactly what they want to do. Let's mess with them really bad. And then it seemed from the fans' eye that that really messed up the Giants' draft plans because they trade all the way back to 20. Then they take Kadarius Toney, where at first a lot of people were like, why are you wasting a first round pick on Kadarius Toney?
Yeah.
That was super petty to me.
Yeah. I hope the Eagles and Cowboys tie both games. I hope you tie. Nobody wins those games.
And that comes just 5 months after the Eagles didn't tank against the Redskins, or I'm sorry, the Washington football team, to allow them to beat the Giants into the playoffs. Yeah, that's some rivalry.
Yeah, the Eagles are right number 1 right now, for sure.
Yeah, I think those games are going to be very, very chippy this upcoming year, especially. And I think there are a lot of fans that are probably going to be thrown out of some of those games.
Oh my!
Because it's gonna get
especially if
crazy.
The fact that the NFL didn't schedule the Eagles Giants week 1 is a crime, an absolute travesty.
Yeah,
it is.
They should definitely fixed it so that was a week 1 matchup. But let's stay with the Giants real quick. Let's talk about wide receiver Kadarius Toney, and I want to get your thoughts on this because a lot of people say that wide receiver room is crowded, even with the injury history to guys like Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton, in Kenny Golladay. He can't stay healthy. John Ross, Cincinnati, was never able to stay healthy. But that's 4 guys that you have. You bring in Golladay, you bring in Ross, add it to Shepard and Slayton. You still have the tight end Evan Ingram. So that's a very, very crowded, receiving core, a crowded group of pass catchers. And then you add another in Kadarius Toney. So what are your thought process? What's your thought process on that? Obviously they were going after a receiver anyway, because they wanted Devontae Smith. But again, that's another wide receiver in a crowded wide receiver room. So what do you think the thought process was there? Also,
to add that Saquon Barkley, although he's a running back, he's going to see a lot of receptions and targets his way as well.
Absolutely.
It kind of shows me they don't really have faith in Slayton, A, and then B, they don't really trust Shepard to stay healthy. So to me, I think they found somebody that they really liked, that they see that's going to be a part of the future, and that can probably compete for probably Shepard. I mean, they're probably a little more similar, and that's what it said to me. I mean, it is kind of crowded. I didn't really like it for the simple fact that we do have depth at that position, especially getting Galladay. But, I don't agree with it, but, I'm not going to argue with Tony. I mean, everything I read about the guy and everything I see on him, he seems like he's electric. So what are you going to do at the end of the day? I just wish they would address another position.
And then moving to the second round pick, Aziz O'gilar, I thought that was a pick that kind of like saved the draft a little bit.
Yeah.
Aziz O'gilar was getting first round comps. Obviously, some injury concerns made him fall out of the first round. But if he is healthy, he is a first round talent all day. I think he adds another dimension to the Giants pass rush that they didn't have opposite Leonard Williams. Give me your insight on that selection.
Yeah, from what I know, that's what I know. He's a first round talent. To be honest with you, I haven't watched too much film on him, but the linebacker position improved last year. Blake Martinez was a nice surprise, but they've always, it's always been a position where the Giants get killed. It gets torched. I'm not used to having a linebacker who can make plays, to be honest with you, outside of I wasn't around for the LT days. Jesse Armstead was so for me, it's like, I'm not used to it. So I don't know much about him, but I would like to see if the linebackers, go from sideline to sideline and make plays and be able to rush, the passer and all that. So he seems like he can do that, and hopefully he can.
Comment from my man Nick, just stopping by before my show. Keep grinding, Mose. Much love, my man. Appreciate you, Nick. As always, man. Thank you so much for stopping by. And as soon as I'm done here, I'll swing by Nothing But Niners and catch you guys out tonight. Thanks again. Let's see. All right. Well, before we go to fantasy impact and hit another topic, I think we can. Is there any other aspects of the Giants draft that you wanted to touch on? The Aaron Robertson, Ellerson Smith, any of those other picks that you wanted to discuss?
The positions that they addressed and the players that they took, I have no problem with, outside of the fact that I wish they probably would have went offensive line, especially in the first round with Slater being there. That's pretty much the only beef that I have, but that beef is so big. That sounded weird. That beef is so big that it kind of threw a wrench in how I felt about the draft. That makes sense.
I was definitely
beef, baby.
I was definitely waiting for Steve to hit
a lot of beef.
Ew. Definitely waiting for this.
Almost wore the Ill Sports shirt tonight, but my Jets one.
Oh man! All right, kids. Let's jump over to the Jets. Let me get that graphic up real quick, and we'll run down the list of these players. Yes, the Jets made some serious moves.
It's a whole damn roster. God damn.
All right, 2021 NFL draft for the New York Jets. We know number 2 pick was Zach Wilson, quarterback out of BYU. Jets made a trade with the Minnesota Vikings, moving up to 13 to take Elijah Vera Tucker out of USC. In the second round, they draft wide receiver Elijah Moore out of Ole Miss. 4th round, they take running back Michael Carter, running back out of North Carolina. There are 3 fifth-round picks here. Jamian Sherwood, safety out of Auburn. Michael Carter, the second, safety out of Duke. Jason Pinnock, cornerback from Pittsburgh. And then 3 sixth-round picks. Hamza Nasir-Ladin, safety out of Florida State. Brandon Eccles, cornerback out of Kentucky. And Jonathan Marshall, defensive tackle out of Arkansas. So it looks like the first 4 picks were offensive guys. And then the rest of the NFL draft, they stuck to their head coach's bread and butter, which is defense. So give me your initial thoughts on this draft as a whole. What picks did you like? What picks did you not like? Let's hear it.
For sure. Yeah, it's an offensive league. Just plain and simple. Right now, the defense can't do anything anymore. Everything's a penalty. You need guys that can be playmakers. You need guys that can make guys miss. And really just supporting a young quarterback, a rookie quarterback, is the most important thing you can do. And with protection, we have Becton picked at whatever it was, 10 last year. He's a force. The guy's huge. And just being able to protect him, unlike the stupid Giants over there, Battle of New York. We got a little bit of protection finally. We've got some playmakers finally. I'm excited about this running back, Michael Carter. Finally, the Jets, who did we have last year? Frank Gore and LaMichael Pirine, because Le'Veon Bell couldn't get on the field. He couldn't do anything. It was just, it's like a sigh of relief to finally see my team participating in what is an offensive league. So, if I can pull up the Darnold draft, I think that was 2018. I don't think they addressed any sort of offensive positions. So it's really refreshing. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I am all in on Elijah Moore. All in. He's incredible. His route running is insane. All I do is watch videos of him. I have him in 3 out of 4 of my dynasty leagues, and I know the guy who has him in the 4th one. He traded up to get him to get in front of me. He knows what's up, and I think it's going to be real tough to get him. I might take a loss there, but I made sure I had him. I didn't draft him in one of them. I immediately traded for him. I got rid of guys like Zach Moss, Adam Troutman, Young Ho Koo, number two kicker last year. I got Jason Sanders. It's okay. And Paris Campbell. I gave away a little bit of a haul, some upside guys, but really it was, what can I do to get Elijah Moore on my squad right now? The guy runs incredible routes, and I think that he played with my favorite receiver, AJ Brown, in college, and AJ Brown endorses the hell out of him. Everybody who you talk to is a big Elijah Moore fan, and I'm incredibly excited to see what he can do. And then Michael Carter, pass catching back, like somebody who's going to help with the dump offs. Like these aren't guys that are really threatening downfield. They're more simple, keep the game nice and easy for Zach Wilson. And I think the Jets did a great job supporting him in this draft. I'm real happy. In past drafts, we've had we'll get Quinnen Williams, good player, but on a team that's struggling, he's not going to help us win. Leonard Williams was another early pick, Jamal Adams, like all these guys, they're good. They're really good. But we've seen that one single defensive player cannot win you games, simply cannot win you games. One single offensive player can. Lamar Jackson has proven that. Guys like him have, Patrick Mahomes, I can't pretend like he's the only guy on that offense, but he's winning them games. Like it almost doesn't matter what your defense looks like if your offense can put up points. And it's just a very different league than it was 10 years ago when the Jets were winning because of their defense. And Mark Sanchez was doing just enough to stay alive and to get us to 2 consecutive AFC championship games. So yeah, I couldn't be happier in this draft, just for the simple fact that my team is addressing what the league looks like right now.
Now let's stay there. Let's focus on that for a little bit, because I think that was one of the things that struck out to me. In all of the years that Sam Darnold was on the team, there wasn't this emphasis on getting quality pieces around him until it was too late. Yeah, you draft Mekhi Becton last year, but that wasn't enough. You still didn't have any receivers. You still didn't have a running back. Still didn't have a tight end. But then you see this offseason, they go out and they get guys like Corey Davis, who, when healthy and when he's locked in, can be a really, really solid number 1 receiver. So you add him into an offense that's going to look a little bit new, a little bit different. Like you said, it's going to, mirror what the league is now with a little bit of nuance, right? And then in the draft, you get Zach Wilson. Then you trade up to make sure you get another offensive lineman for him who has the versatility. I believe he'll probably start at left guard next to Mekhi Becton, but he could also play right tackle if you needed him to. He has that much versatility. Then you add a guy like Elijah Moore, who, as you mentioned, is dynamic. I think you're gonna see Elijah Moore be utilized similarly to a Deebo Samuel. The offensive coordinator for the Jets now was the previous passing game coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. He followed Robert Sala over to New York. So I think you're going to see a lot of that Kyle Shanahan offense in New York.
Creative.
And I think Elijah Moore is going to be that guy that you see in motion all over the field. He's going to be pre-snap motion. He's going to be running the jet sweeps. He's going to be used on the outside, in the slot, all over the place. Then you get a running back who can run in between the tackles. He can run outside and he can catch the ball out of the backfield. So I haven't seen the Jets put so much emphasis on making sure, okay, we have a young quarterback. We need to put the pieces around him. The only thing that's different is the coaching staff. I believe it's the same GM. So what do you think was the mindset shift? Was it that Sam Darnold was a failed experiment and that he didn't do enough to put the pieces around him? And he's like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I have to do it differently. Like, what do you think that change in mindset was for him?
Yeah, I think that definitely has to do with it. I pulled up the 2018 Jets draft picks here, and it was Darnold at 6, and it was defensive line in the 2nd round. Chris Herndon, failed experiment in my opinion, in the 3rd round, and then it was cornerback, D-line, and then in the 6th round, Trenton Cannon, running back. Like, that was the next offensive player, and it was just, you're not really surrounding him with any kind of real weapons. And again, going back to the glory days, like Braylon Edwards, Santonio Holmes, Plaxico Burress, like these are playmakers. These are guys that can help your quarterback out to do enough to get you to where you need to be, to win you some games. So yeah, I'm excited. And just the emphasis on the offense overall, I was just referring to the draft earlier, but like you said, bringing in Corey Davis, who I've always had mixed feelings with on, but he can make plays. Keelan Cole can make plays. He's a dynamic returner as well. And then even guys like Tyler Kroft, solid tight end. He's not going to be, blow you away with anything, but he's an offensive piece that we're bringing in that can help us out in certain ways. So, I am excited. And I think that in terms of, to answer your question, I think that, yes, we realize within the Jets organization that we have to, if we're going to draft a quarterback, we have to give him pieces. So, yeah, Darnold failed. Why? Was it because of his talent, or was it because he didn't have any ways to succeed? But then also it might be that mindset from the Niners. We got a little influence from you guys here, and I think that they realize it's an offensive league. Get us some offensive players. Get us those dynamic, like those Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk kind of guys. That's what I think Elijah Moore is. We're going to see a lot of different running backs in the backfield. Tevin Coleman coming over, knows the system, and Michael Carter's going to be catching a lot of passes, I think.
Yeah, man, I'm actually really excited to see, what the Jets product on the field is going to look like. Let's jump over to that defensive side of the ball. I'm sure you've heard me talk about it. There's a lot of emphasis on safety. There are 3 safeties taken in that 5th through 6th round, 3 safeties, 2 corners, and a defensive tackle. One of the guys that I'm really, really excited about for the Jets is Hamza Nasir-Ladin, safety out of Florida State. I think when you talk about a scheme fit and you talk about a coaching staff that has success with a player of his caliber, of his type, it's Robert Sala. Robert Sala comes from that Seattle Legion of Boom coaching tree. And when I look at Hamza Nasir-Ladin, he reminds me a lot of Cam Chancellor. Obviously, he fell in the draft due to his lack of speed. There were some injury concerns. However, when Hamza's on the field, he's a ball hawk. He's always around the ball. He's sideline to sideline. He has good hands for a defensive back. So if the ball's in the air and he can intercept it, he will. He's a great tackler. He loves to get his nose in there and stop the ball carrier, trying to get the strip as well. I think you can see him have a big impact at that strong safety position. I know Marcus May is there. Yep. But I think he can have a big impact in a rotational basis. You may see him being used as a linebacker because of his size and of his frame. I think that's a great fit for him with the New York Jets coming with Robert Sala. I know Sala saw him and loved him. Are there any of these other guys on defense that stand out to you who you think can come in and contribute, even if it's in a rotational basis?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And now with an extra game in the season too, it's really important to have that depth on defense and versatile guys that can fill in at multiple positions and really just play ball. Specifically 6th-round guys, I'm not really diving into those. A lot of them aren't going to make the roster. But we'll see. I am excited, and like I said, any kind of late round versatility that you can bring in, find a spot for me to play football. That's the kind of guy that I want.
Absolutely. Josh, let's get you back in here, man. We talked about the draft picks. We talked about what we like, what we didn't like. Let's give the people a little bit of fantasy value. What do you see? Probably the biggest fantasy impact from this draft class will be Kadarius Toney, but we did talk about, the crowded wide receiver room, and he's going to have to split touches with, all of those guys who are there. Realistically, what do you think his fantasy impact can be in his rookie season?
I don't see much from Kadarius Toney at all. I mean, if you have a dynasty league, maybe you can draft him and stash him for a little bit, but this year, I don't expect anything from him. He might have like a nice, exciting play or two, have 3 touchdowns, and have a game where it's like 4 receptions for 120 and a touchdown. But there's no way I'm drafting him in any standard leagues or any one season type leagues. Dynasty, keep him, stash him, but anything else, I mean, no fantasy impact whatsoever.
Yeah, he's going to need a couple injuries in front of him to get on the field enough to really participate. And I think that he probably does go undrafted in most redraft leagues. Yeah. He's going around, I think, late 2nd, early 3rd round in 12-man dynasty leagues, just because I think people don't really believe in Danny Jones that well.
That's what
that much.
Yeah. And there's too many receivers in front of him. And I think that they're going to try to work him in. Like, I think Garrett's going to try to give him the ball maybe 3 to 5 touches a game at least, whether it's a sweep or a screen, something. But it's not enough to be on your fantasy football team.
Let me ask you a question, Josh. Mm-hmm. In order, how do you see everyone being drafted, all positions included, including quarterback?
So you have Saquon.
Yeah.
Then you probably will go Galladay. Evan Ingram, I think based on his season last year, he might be a little undervalued. I don't think he's as bad as people think he is. I think last year, I mean, he had the case of like the Butterfingers, but whatever. But
Steve Ladd is not a fan.
I know a lot of Giants fans are not a fan, but I still have a little bit of hope for Evan Ingram. He's so athletic, man. At that position, if he can just, hold on to the damn football, I think he'll be fine. And he shows some flashes too. So I think you got Saquon, Kenny, then you have Ingram. After all of them, I don't think anybody's really fantasy relevant. Slayton took a step back. I would take Sterling Shepard before I took Slayton.
I agree at this point.
Shepard.
And then Danny Jones?
Yeah, I mean, he's not even going to be on a roster, to be honest with you. But yeah, then Danny Jones. I don't understand why anybody would draft him. It's a huge question mark.
I mean, he's really good at running and then fumbling. Just watch out for that 20-yard line. Had to find a spot to throw that in.
Yeah.
Shout out to my guy, Amin the Dream. I love this kid, man. He's like 13, a 49ers fan. Awesome. He shows up on Grant Cohn's live shows, the Cohn Zone. He has really good insight. This kid is probably going to take all our jobs one day. So
nice, man.
Shout out to Amin.
Nice to meet my future boss.
And I mentioned how the Eagles were petty. And unfortunately, the pettiness trickles down to their fans. Shout out to my cousin Kyle. He said, I know we talking about the Giants and Jets right now, but in all caps, I just want to shout out the Philadelphia Eagles, all caps, real quick. Let's go Eagles, all caps.
I just need to let him know. I need to let him know real quick. The Eagles still have a big picture of Carson Wentz outside of their stadium right now, as of this past weekend.
Really?
I drove past there this weekend, and it's there. I gotta find that picture.
Wow. So they haven't even taken down the picture of a
Yeah.
quarterback that they've traded months ago.
How do you think
Months
Jalen
ago.
Hurts feels right now?
He hurts.
This was
There
Sunday.
it is. There it is. Carson Wentz still up there on Lincoln Financial Field. Oh man. Thanks for
Philly
stopping
fans just
in,
can't
Kyle.
let go of him.
Appreciate you. But yeah, man, the pettiness continues. All right. Kizzo, I think you got a little bit more from a fantasy perspective than J-Rod and his Giants.
Because I'm better than him.
Jesus Christ. No. It's nothing to do with that.
Let me ask you something, Josh.
Wait. Quick question
Go
before
ahead.
you ask Josh. What's the head-to-head record between you two?
It's pretty even.
It's probably pretty close. We both have a couple championships in
admit-
this league that we've been playing for 10
Yeah.
years. We both have 2 championships.
Right.
Josh has placed more than I have, but when I make it that far, I just win. So I don't know. I'm kind of like Jordan. He's kind of like LeBron. You know, he's been there more, but he comes in second a few times.
I think head to head, if we had to play an even amount of games. If we played like 14 times, it's either 7-7 or 8-6 Kizzo. I think he might have a little bit on me.
We have this dynasty league right now that started as a keeper league. I think it's in season 10 or 11 right now.
Is it? Oh, so then we played 20. We played 20 games.
Right. And me and Josh, we used to start the season every single year until we moved it over to Sleeper. We used to start the season against each other. We would play week 1 and week 12.
Yeah.
And every single season. So we would have our battles. But he had Le'Veon Bell for the longest time, and Le'Veon was always suspended for the first week, so I had a nice little break there. It was nice.
He would beat me week 1. I would beat him week 12. I think I swept him one year, and he swept me. You swept me last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bust your ass last year.
Oh, shut up, dude. Come on. I have the most whatever it's called, place finishes in the entire Dynasty League.
You probably do.
So I'm the most successful fantasy player in the league.
That's all right. We'll see after this year. My team is a bomb squad. Speaking of that, the question I was going to ask you, Josh, is who were you going for? Who were you trying to trade up to at 8? Who were you trying to go get?
What do you mean?
Was it a certain jet that you were trying to trade to make or to draft there?
Oh yeah, Michael Carter.
Josh was trying to trade up to get Michael Carter at pick 8.
I was.
I swooped in like this,
and he had a better deal, I guess. Apparently,
it's funny because I gave up Kenny Golladay to get that pick.
He did.
It was a little bit more than that, but I gave up a Giant to get a Jet. Obviously, the Jets are higher on this fantasy totem pole. I actually think that's true right now. Obviously, Saquon number 1, but right now I think overall, I'm more excited to have Jets in dynasty leagues than Giants.
In dynasty, yes, not in single season leagues.
Redraft, it's going to be tough. I think, with a rookie quarterback, it's always tough to have any kind of those, that person's assets. It's even tough for Trevor Lawrence to come in and for me to be excited about DJ Chark this year. But in the future, I'm happy I have him on that same team.
Yeah, in 3 years, Carter, Moore, and Wilson could all be signiant.
They could all be studs.
Fantasy players.
If this works out, they could all be studs. Yeah, absolutely.
I
and I have a piece of all of them. Let's go.
Ew.
Now wait, are you guys still in that league that I hosted the
yes,
draft
that's
party?
That's the one. Yep, that's the one we're talking about.
Okay,
yep.
That's what's up, man.
Marcus was our board master.
He was
1 year at Buffalo Wild Wings for our.
That was the first
draft.
year.
Two
No,
years.
was it
first year?
Yeah,
first year.
That's true. Yeah,
But
we were at Uno's also.
I won the championship the first time, and you won the championship the second time. So look at that.
Because the first year we had the board with like the sticky names.
Yep.
And then your graphic.
And then the next year after that, I did like the whole computer thing with the.
Yep.
I tried. I'm in IT, so I had to do my tech thing. I had to implement that anywhere. Question from Amin. This one's for Josh. Do you think Danny Dimes will prove that he is a franchise quarterback this year? And if he plays bad this year, do you think the Giants will keep him or get rid of him? Great question.
So I do not think he's the franchise quarterback for the New York Giants. You can blame the line, which is very valid. The line is not good, but he's held on to the football for too long. There are times where he just doesn't throw to open receivers, and sometimes it is because the receivers weren't getting open. But there's other times where, if you watch the film, there are receivers that are open and Danny's just holding the ball. He has a fumbling issue that needs to be fixed. I'm not sure if you can fix that over an offseason. Maybe, possibly. I don't know, but I don't expect him to have a great of a season because they haven't really improved the line. Nate Solder to me is not good. Will Hernandez really didn't have a good line. They had a bust last year, Andrew Thomas. So to me, it's who's going to protect him? You can't really rely on the running game with Saquon if he's only averaging like two yards per carry because of the O-line. So I think the Giants didn't really set him up for success. And, I don't think they keep him. I think move on from him, especially if it's really bad. You might as well just win 3 or 4 games and get your quarterback next year.
The thing is, if I can add to that, I think there's been something in the water in this area with the Eagles and the Giants and the Jets. We in the last couple of years have had such awful decision makers. Danny Jones, Sam Darnold, and Carson Wentz. They're all talented. Nobody's denying that. They were all high draft picks. What were they thinking? We sit here as Jets, Giants, and Eagles fans, what are they doing? They make awful, awful decisions in the worst times. A lot of it comes with confidence and the ability to play in these big markets of Philadelphia and New York, which could be a little bit cruel to people they don't like. But, man, it's been tough to watch. And the Jets and the Eagles got rid of their problem quarterbacks, in my opinion. I think the Giants do it next year too. I agree with you. I think they're going to be bad, and if he doesn't do well with this lineup, this offensive, lineup that they've put out for him, I don't think he's around much longer.
And also to add to that too, he does have weapons, like you did say, Kiz, but also Russell Wilson's never had a good line. He makes things happen. Quarterbacks still make things happen if you have a bad line.
Yeah.
And I was always a Darnold fan, but one thing that you've always said, Kizzo, and I have to give you credit for this, is that so what? So what if you have a bad line? Make plays. You're a quarterback. If you're this franchise quarterback that, everyone thinks you're going to be, if you're a second pick in the draft, if you're a 6th pick like Daniel Jones, make plays. Do something. And Daniel Jones, he can make plays with his feet every once in a while, but he turns the ball over too much. And I think, honestly, that comeback he had in Tampa Bay bought him so much leeway with Giant fans and the Giant organization that it kind of just turned into it snowballed into the fact that I think we just kept him a little too long. But I don't know. Maybe he proves me wrong, but I don't think he will.
Now, I hear what you're saying, but let's play devil's advocate because you mentioned Russell Wilson, and yes, he does make a lot of plays without having an offensive line. But you saw this offseason, he was frustrated. I think Russell has reached his breaking point in saying, you need to get me a better offensive line so that I can be even more productive. We talk about Patrick Mahomes, and he's always making plays. But I think the Bucs proved that without a quality offensive line in front of him, you can make him look pedestrian.
Yeah.
Because he looked that way in the Super Bowl. So while, yes, you are the quarterback, and if you're a franchise quarterback, that's what you're tasked to do. What is the split on, am I not making the right plays? Is it bad decision making? And how bad is my offensive line? Because if we're playing devil's advocate, that can play a huge role into whether you're successful or not. And over a 16, now 17 game season, if teams know that this is an area that you struggle, all they're going to do is follow the blueprint of the team that played you the week before and then add another wrinkle, something that they do well, to continue to throw you off your game and to expose the weakness of that offensive line. So just playing devil's advocate, kind of speak to that a little bit as well. Where does that fine line come between I need to make plays as the quarterback, but I also need the quality pieces in front of me and around me in order to succeed at a high level in the NFL?
See, the difference right now is we're talking about Russell Wilson needs a competent offensive line to win a Super Bowl. Daniel Jones needs a competent offensive line to win 6 games in the league. There's levels to this. Daniel Jones, it's not like he's not mobile. He's not Eli Manning. He can get out of the pocket. He can make plays with his feet. You can do that. And there's a lot of quarterbacks who can do that. Kyler Murray can do it. Russell Wilson can do it. All these players who don't have the best offensive lines can get out of the pocket and make something happen. And he can't do that consistently. Every once in a while he does, but more often than not, he doesn't. And he turns the ball over at such a high rate. So to me, that's where the line is. If you can blame the line, absolutely. But also, if he was as good as a quarterback as, he was drafted to be, the Giants would have 7, 8 wins, 9 wins, maybe knocking on the door of an NFC East championship. And they're not.
Do you know what the best thing about Tom Brady is? And I hate the man, but in terms of a football player, the best thing about Tom Brady is he knows when to take a sack. He knows when to dump it off. He knows where he's going. It's decision making. That's what it comes down to. And I think that's the line between a Russell Wilson and a Danny Jones. There's a little bit more skill involved there, but it's decision making. Guys like Rodgers, there's a reason they're good. They don't turn the ball over. They don't make stupid decisions. Take a sack, punt the ball. That's better than trying to make a ridiculous play and turning the ball over, or making some big mistakes here. And again, that's what I've been so frustrated with watching Danny Jones. I've owned him in fantasy. Watching Carson Wentz, Eagles fans love him, and I'm surrounded by Eagles fans, so I just get frustrated that they even like him. And then, of course, Sam Darnold being my team. It's been a frustrating few years for these quarterbacks. All about decisions.
And to add to that, too, even when Daniel Jones has had a clean pocket, he still has not been that great or that accurate. So even when given the opportunity of like, oh, hey, there's an open guy, he doesn't even throw the ball sometimes. He holds on to the ball too long.
This is why I love talking to you guys, because we start talking about one thing and then it piggybacks into another. So to piggyback off what you said, Kizzo, yes, it's about decision making. How do you get, how can you get a young quarterback out of the mentality of I have to make this crazy throw or try to make this crazy play? Because I feel like part of that mentality is I don't have a solid offensive line in front of me. I don't have the weapons around me. I can't throw the ball to myself, but I have to do something spectacular to move the ball or to get momentum back on my team's side. Like, how can we help? How do you think a coaching staff can help these young quarterbacks get out of that superhero mindset, especially when they don't have all the necessary pieces around them? Because I think that plays a big role into why you see some of these dumb decisions and these crazy outlandish throws, because these guys are just trying to, it's almost desperation for them to make a play.
It's very easy. Make the game simple for them. Get playmakers that can allow them easy throws. Elijah Moore is a great guy to just get open within 10 to 15 yards. Get him the ball, let him do the rest. We played flag football. Brandon was our quarterback. We say, make the game easy for yourself. You don't need to run around throwing the football all over the place. He can do it. He's a great quarterback. If you're watching, Brandon, I love you. But we just dump it off. Get it to your playmakers. Get it to Amir. Get it to Brandon Johnson. Let them go do their thing. But right now, I think that's what they need to do, and I feel like that's why I'm excited. I think the Jets are doing that. I'm not sure the Giants are doing that for Danny Jones. But yeah, just make the game easy for them, man. Let them build that confidence in their first couple of years, get a couple wins under their belt, and then they can feel like they're the man. The one thing that I don't love about all the Zach Wilson hype is that one throw he made on his pro day with no pads and no defenders. Stop it. Don't even start with that, because that one throw, look, if you gave me a few opportunities, I'm not a good quarterback. Maybe I make that throw. What I'm saying is stop it. What I'm saying is I don't really care for my rookie quarterback to come in and try to make that throw. I don't want him to think that's what he needs to do, to your point. He doesn't need to make that kind of throw to win games in New York. Just needs to play solid football. Get the ball down the field. Doesn't matter if it's in one play or 15 plays. In fact, I'd prefer for it to be 15 plays getting down the field. Keep resting your defense. 17-game season now. Just make it easy for yourself. So that's the one thing that I hope he doesn't, get too into, is like, let me make that amazing throw because I really like that press around me when I did make it. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If you mentioned Tom Brady earlier, if you look at him, especially in his Patriot days, they will slant and drag you to death.
People trash him for that, but guess what? That wins football games.
I trash him for that.
So do I.
Yeah,
but I'm just a bitter Jets fan.
He's literally it's just out routes and slants, and it's like, okay.
And they will out route, slant, and drag you to death.
5 yards, 5 turns to 15, 5 turns to 20. Like,
if that's what you give up, that's what they will take.
Yep.
And you're right. That led to them winning the game. So if you can simplify the game for these young quarterbacks, I think that's beautiful. Speaking of flag football, back at Ryder, I don't think y'all beat us, did y'all?
Come on, we were
I didn't want to
kids.
talk about
We didn't even know what was up.
I don't even want to talk. Hold on. By the way, that was the greatest flag football season in Ryder intramural history. I don't know what happened before, and I don't know what happened after. But
Doesn't matter, does it?
We didn't have 2 teams. We had 3 teams that were. I mean, every game was decided by 1 point. How crazy is that?
Going deep.
It was close, but
That's
well, we took the chip home. I should have brought Chuck on.
I don't even want to. I don't
We don't
want
want to talk to Chuck.
We were Chris Cooley and Antonio Gates back then in our younger days. So glad you brought that up. Just
don't want to talk about it.
Gotta relive.
You stole our best pass rusher.
You did.
Who?
Jason and
Andrea.
Oh
yeah. Jason, he came over to the dark side. Look, that wasn't me.
We win if we have him. If we win, if we have him.
That was there.
We win if we have him 1,000%. We had to a pick on the first game. First play of the game.
Yeah, that's because I wasn't there.
No, that's because we scouted and we knew what play you guys did in the first.
No, that's because I wasn't there. I remember that game.
A double move with a pump fake. We had Steve Bitterman play safety. This is what's going to happen, and he picked it off. When Steve Bitterman picks you off, that's scouting. That's not athletic ability.
Listen, that's because I remember that game. That's because I wasn't there. My girlfriend.
You were there. You played.
No, but I came late. I was late because my girlfriend at the time, who was my wife now, shout out to Mrs. Mose, she wanted to go to the movies, and I'm like, babe, I got a game at such and such time. She was like, but I want to go to the movies.
You watch my
do you remember how much we paid her to take him to the movies?
Josh, listen, I'm trying to get monetized on YouTube. Don't bring up Marley and me. You're gonna make me call Quab and get him in here, and it's gonna be a whole thing, and they're gonna shut my whole YouTube page down. Man, you're right. Do not mention Marley and me, okay?
I'm sorry. I was just trying to be a good guy. I was just trying to be a nice man. That's all I'm saying.
Actually, later on, I'll be honest, because we're grown now.
Yeah.
I did watch Marley and Me. It's actually a very good movie.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? All am I taking from you?
Me and Tori watched Marley and Me.
We need that video right now, Josh.
I am cropping this out and sending it to Quab immediately. Immediately. Are you kidding me? All this time? All this time?
No. I didn't watch it then. It was later on.
Okay.
Like it wasn't like I wasn't like yelling at you, but we like it was like after we left school, after I was married.
In a funny and weird way, you were thinking about me the whole time.
I was like, I can't. I told her, I was like, yo, I can't believe I'm watching this right now. I gave Josh so much crap. And she was like, you don't know. It could be a good movie. And then I'm sitting at the end and she was like, did you like it? I was like, it was all right. She was like, oh, you liked it. You liked it. It was so good. I don't know why I didn't instead of Notorious. No, that was a good movie. So I have to apologize to you. My young, immature self just couldn't let you go out like a sucker.
I'll say this. That was one of the funniest moments of my life, and I'm happy that Kizzo took out the camera and recorded it because I could always.
I had no idea he was recording, but that was absolutely hilarious.
That was really funny.
It was necessary.
That's a great moment. Fellas, we've been on for 48 minutes. I wanted to kind of stay right around the hour, so I think we kind of hit that mark. So before we get out of here, Kizzo, we'll start with you, then J-Rod will go to you. Any last thoughts? Organized team activities have started this week. The Jets have been on the field. The Giants have been on the field. Not too much contact as of right now. I think OTAs right now are limited. So I think they're only together for like a week or so. But anything that you've seen so far, what are you looking forward to seeing? Any OTA or training camp battles that you're really looking forward to? Just give us your final thoughts on where your Jets are and what you're looking forward to coming up training camp this offseason.
Yeah, well, like you said, OTAs are limited, and especially for the Green Bay Packers. But that was a Aaron Rodgers isn't there joke. But yeah, I'm happy my guys showed up, and again, it's a young team, so they all kind of have to be there. As some say, they haven't earned their rights to miss that. But it's exciting. I follow every Jets thing I can on social media, and just seeing that little pitch and catch there. I like it. I like seeing Carter catch a ball. I like seeing Elijah Moore in there, and I'll say his name 100 times. I love watching him play. So the Jets are probably going to release Jameson Crowder, who was probably the only fantasy relevant Jet last year. They're going to release him soon. Sad to see him go, but I enjoy what's going to be filling his shoes there. So you know what? From a sad franchise, you have an optimistic fan right now.
That's what's up, man. That's good stuff. Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, I think we talk about petty. I think he was sending a message because not only did he not show up, but their top 5 wide receivers didn't show up either. No Devontae Adams, no Alan Lazard, no Valdez Scantling, no Equanimous St. Brown. Those guys didn't show up either. So Jordan Love was throwing to a patchwork wide receiver core. Probably the only notable name was Amari Rodgers, their draft pick in 2021. So I think Aaron is really sending a message to the Packers, man. It's going to be interesting to see how that whole thing unfolds. Josh, over to you, man. Give us your insight to your Giants OTAs going into training camp. What are you looking forward to seeing?
Nothing in particular. I mean, I don't think there are any like wide receiver position battles. I mean, I like Pony. I don't think he's going to challenge for a spot. I think they'll probably end up using him over John Ross, but I don't think that's, necessarily a battle or anything like that. I am interested to see if they had like this, 2 tight end set and they use that for more protection with Kyle Rudolph and Evan Ingram. I can't imagine you're going to style Kyle Rudolph for no reason. And I'm actually excited about that because it's more protection, gives you another pass catcher, if you want to slip him out. So, to be honest with you, like during preseason, that's what I'll be looking for to see if they added, some more plays off of that set. And that's it, man. I mean, there's really no position battles. There really isn't. Is Will Hernandez going to get better? Is Andrew Tom? Is the offensive line going to get better? Period. That's what I want to see. There's really no one threatening anybody at that position. They just have to be better. You have to be better. Period. Or Daniel Jones is going to be on his ass and the ball's going to be on the ground.
Yeah, man. So it's really going to be interesting. Tonight's episode is about the Giants and the Jets. I mean, I'll throw my Niners in there because of the 3 teams, we are the best team so far. I'm looking to see Nick Bosa come back healthy. Right now, Kyle Shanahan said he's still down in Florida, working with his brother, working with his team, making sure the knee is good.
I mean, the whole team was hurt last year. You're looking for the whole team.
And Jeff Wilson's hurt again today.
Yeah. I mean, he just had a surgery to repair a torn meniscus, so he's out 4 to 6 months. So I think Kyle was wise to draft 2 running backs. A lot of people were saying, why draft 2 running backs? We have a stable of guys on the roster. So him drafting 2 running backs now, it makes sense with Jeff Wilson Jr. being out. But yeah, I think the biggest thing I'm looking for is to make sure that our strength and conditioning staff keeps these guys healthy. Kyle's doing his part. He already mentioned in his press conference today that he's dumbing down reps for everybody. I think Jimmy only had 2 reps so far. Trey Lance has only had 3 reps. So there's not a lot of reps to go around, especially in the team drills. So I think he's trying to limit guys as much as he can. Again, that's something also to look out for. Will those limited reps hurt those guys as far as getting into football shape? And when we get into preseason and the regular season, will them not going through drills full speed and with as many reps, can that hurt them? So there's a lot to look out for. I think if we have another injury-ridden season, it's not going to be good in the Bay, but hopefully that season was an anomaly, and we can get back to our winning ways. Listen, I want Jimmy to succeed. I want Jimmy to do well. If Jimmy does well, we do well. But I'm just so excited to see Trey Lance. I really am. I'm excited to see him. Man.
Do you think it's just pointless to not even start him right away? Like, I know obviously you have Jimmy there, but like, don't you think the whole organization's just waiting for that? So you might as well just do it.
The whole organization is waiting for that. And they're playing this wait and see game. Like, we want to start him if he's ready. But everything points to this kid already being ready. Obviously, there is growing pains. There's a certain maturation level that you have to go through going from college to the pros. But everything you hear about Trey Lance is he's super intelligent. You know, when they have him on the whiteboard trying to teach him schemes, you know, the narrative this offseason was he was actually teaching the people who were trying to teach him. He was going through concepts and he was teaching them things that maybe they didn't even know. So he has the intelligence level. We know he has the physical skill. I think it's a matter of him just getting out there, and he has to be in live action. He has to see the speed of the game. He has to see pass rushers coming at him and see what that's like to have those guys around your feet, have that pocket close in on you, see what you can do as far as escaping the pocket. And like we mentioned earlier, moving that pocket and creating a play, giving your wide receiver that extra 2 or 3 seconds to make another move or to get that separation, to make that window just open enough that you can fit that pass in there. I think he needs to see it. He needs to be in it. I think OTAs is going to help because I think he already has everything. I think he just has to get used to the NFL game. So yeah, like Steve said, new toy. I'm really, really excited, you know, to see him play. I can't wait till we get to the preseason games to see him in some live action. Hopefully somebody gets a quarterback injury and they call us up because they want Jimmy, and we just send them so that we have no choice but to play Trey. And I'll be cool with that. I really would be cool with that because I want to see him play. And we might as well get him in now while teams don't have film on him.
Right.
They don't have anything to go off of. So they'll try to do your standard mobile quarterback package. But, you know, Kyle Shanahan, the offensive genius that he is, I think he's going to put a good, solid plan for him together. But I'm excited for all of our teams. Are you guys going to any games this year? Will you guys be at MetLife at all?
Well, I'll be in LA for the season, so I will not be at MetLife. I definitely want to see a Rams or Chargers game at that new stadium for sure.
Yeah, so. I want to go to SoFi so bad.
Yeah, I mean, let me know, man. If you go to LA, let's go together.
For sure.
Yeah, you catch a Niners Rams game out there.
Yeah, did they play this? Yeah, that's right.
Niners Rams. They play every year. Yeah. Niners Rams.
That would be dope. You going to any Jets games this year?
I'd like to. Young kids. I don't know. Looking at my wife right now, saying like, "Hey, what do you think?" but we'll see. I would love to get back out there. It's so nice to have fans in a stadium again. It was weird last year, man. There was something missing, and it's nice. I'm excited to see that 30 out of 32 teams announced today that they're having full capacity. We're back.
Yeah, for sure. I was talking to my father-in-law on Sunday. And we're probably trying to go to a couple. I don't know if he's going to get season tickets like he did a couple years ago. But I think the one game we're looking at right now is Jets versus Tennessee. I got to see Derrick Henry in person.
That's a good game.
I got to see him in person. So
that's one that I would love to see. I love AJ Brown. Love Derrick Henry. We might have to talk.
Yeah, we might have to make that happen. Kizzo, let them know where they can follow you. What we got going on with Fantasy Holics. Just give them a brief rundown of that, in case they need fantasy advice or anything in the like.
Yeah, Fantasy Holics is a mostly Facebook page right now. We're expanding to Instagram and Twitter. Working on a website right now. It's just a bunch of guys who love fantasy football. We have a lot of dynasty players. We have our own dynasty league. We post daily content, player comparisons. We give advice for all sorts of formats, and it's just a group of smart football minds that argue all the time because everybody's opinion is different. None of us can tell the future, but we like to pretend we can. But we take all the stats and tendencies and everything, and we've got a really good, solid team that will give you great fantasy football advice. So. Follow at Fantasy Holics on Instagram, Twitter, and of course the Facebook page is where we spend most of our time. And this is actually broadcasting live on the Fantasy Holics page. All right.
Shout out to
and you can get at me at I'm the hashtag Great White Buffalo. That's where you can get me.
Great Buffalo.
Josh, man, let everybody know what you got going on, man. I'm not surprised to see all the success that you have, and knowing what you did in college as far as music and producing and having your hand in that arena, to see what you've blossomed into, man. So proud of you and everything that you got going on. I'm a big proponent of giving people flowers while they can smell them, man. We have a Webby Award-winning producer of the podcast 17. It's what is it? 17 weeks?
Yeah, it's 17 weeks. It's hosted by Nate Burleson every year. Each year we follow 3 different NFL players and basically just document their season. We try to call it, the hard knocks of audio, basically. So, this year coming up, I can't say who we're in contact with until we actually sign them. But if you like podcasts, if you're interested in having like the hard knocks of audio, it's called 17 Weeks. It's hosted by Nate Burleson. I do produce that. We did win a Webby. So shout out to our team at Uninterrupted. So that's cool. During the football season, hopefully if all goes well, Kizzo might be a part of this. And I actually might want to talk to you about this too, Marcus. There's going to be a show called Point Shaving where we give our NFL bets for the week, sponsored by Manscaped. So you can win money by, listening to us make our picks, and you can get your balls shaved by purchasing Manscaped products at a discounted rate by watching our show. So a lot coming up in the football arena. And for those of you who listen to basketball podcasts like basketball, I have my own basketball podcast, The Dime with Josh Rodriguez, which has just recently been picked up by Ball is Life. So check it out. And
Josh, what NFL players have you worked with in the past? Do some name dropping here.
So last season for 17 weeks, we had Eric Ebron, Emmanuel Sanders, and Jamal Adams. And for season 1, we had Le'Veon Bell, Cole Beasley, and Jalen Ramsey.
And you've done some interviews with other guys that are. Give me some of those names.
I've interviewed DeAndre Hopkins,
Todd Gurley, Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
And Josh did ask Melvin Gordon why he fumbled 2 times in the semifinal game and almost cost me a championship.
I did not ask Melvin Gordon that.
You should have asked him that.
I did not ask him that. Yeah.
Josh, all of these names that you've interviewed, hello, Mose Knows Football Podcast.
Trust me, I got you. Just stay consistent. So I can bring you up in pitch meetings and be like, yo, he's been doing this for this amount of time. He has grown in this sort of way. These are his numbers. Trust me, I know him personally. Let's get him on.
For sure, man.
Stay consistent. That's my advice to you. Trust me.
We got to work in the future, but definitely, man, I love doing this. You guys know I love talking ball, and I appreciate the 2 of you coming on tonight, man. It's not exactly what we wanted to do, but sometimes in life you got to pivot, you got to maneuver, and we were able to get this done, man. And I think we had a great show. Always good talking to you, fellas. Thanks so much for stopping by and chilling with Mose tonight. And for everybody who tuned in tonight, thank you so very much. We greatly appreciate your attendance and your time and your ear. Just listening to us talk ball. We'll have some more shows coming for you in the future. Actually, tomorrow night, we will have a one-on-one with former NFL and AFL professional football player Eric Crocker. We're going to do a breakdown of the 2021 NFL draft class and specifically the cornerbacks of that class. Eric was a corner in the league, NFL and AFL. So he has a keen eye of what the cornerback position is supposed to look like. He's been doing his research and his homework of this cornerback class. And he's going to join me tomorrow night. And we're going to break down what we see from this young group of corners. And we're going to try to figure out who will have great success in their rookie season. So tune into that. You don't want to miss it. Again, love and appreciate you. You stop by. Mose knows your family now, and there's nothing you can do about it. Take it easy, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.